Hey everybody, welcome back to the Quest for the Bestest and Backlot Banter. It's a little bit of a crossover episode because it is time to lay down the law upon the Academy and give out our predictions for who's going to win and who's going to lose at the 2022 Academy Awards. Coming up soon. They're coming up on Sunday. That's when the Oscars usually are. That's when they are this time around. And we have all looked through the list. We've watched a lot of the films. We've done all of the nominees for Best Picture over on the side Quest for the Bestest. It's all finished. The list is not quite done yet. If you have yet to go vote on the final placement of the list, go check out the West Side Story video. And if you're listening on Spotify, go vote in the Spotify poll that I figured out how to do for that episode. But now, let's do it. Let's talk about these awards, talk about these films and what's going to win, because some films that we have yet to discuss really ended up in the running for a couple of awards, and I want to know what you guys think. So, without any further ado, should we just jump right into it? Abram looks like he's got something to say. Yes.
Yes, Abram Beater from Quest for the Bestest.
I have a clarifying question from both myself and the audience. We are going to be reading out both what we think will win and what we think should win, correct?
Yeah, we'll probably just speak about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I also suggested
we'll make it clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should just read out everyone we think is going to lose.
Oh,
yeah, we just no speaking of winners.
Highlights. All right.
What's worst picture? Well, I guess actually that's pretty clear if you watch Quest, but
yeah. Timo, hit us with the first category that we're doing, not necessarily the first category that the Oscars will be presenting. We're going. We're being a real darabonts about this.
Yeah.
We're doing whatever we please.
Yeah. So I think to start us all off for this, I want to go to our supporting actor categories. Let's start off with supporting actress, because I feel like this one, there seems to be large consensus, at least in the media sphere, about who is going to win for this. The nominees, if you don't know, are Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench in Belfast, Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog, and Aunjanue Ellis in King Richard. So, who do you think is going to win? Go around the horn, spit it to me.
It's Ariana DeBose. She's going to win.
Yeah, it's Ariana DeBose.
Yep.
I also have Ariana DeBose to win, but I think Kirsten Dunst should win. I think she's fantastic in Power of the Dog.
I also think Kirsten Dunst, she'd be my pick to win, personally.
I put Ariana DeBose because I want to get the most correct. And
Yes.
I think, I hope that she wins. I don't really have a lot of strong opinions on the rest of the nominees in this category.
Yeah, she's really the only one I'm passionate about, so she's certainly my favorite to win as well.
I will say that
if I had best movie of the year.
If I hadn't been doing this in 5 minutes as I ate a turkey sandwich, I might have put down Aunjanue Ellis instead of Kirsten Dunst, my personal choice, because I think she is phenomenal as
I do as well.
As Venus, right? Yeah, she's Venus.
No, she's the mom.
Yeah,
she's the mom.
Well, she was just as good. What's the next category?
What's the next category?
Well, let's do supporting actor next.
Of course.
We're going to stick with it. The nominees in this category, how do you say the one from Belfast? Ciarán Hinds?
I think it's Ciarán Hinds.
Ciarán Hinds for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons in Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee for The Power of the Dog. You're laughing about the J.K. Simmons.
Why are you laughing?
What is up with that?
J.K. Simmons is the predicted winner, right, guys? Right, guys?
He's one of the weird nominations from this year, not because he was bad, but because no one thought that was even a possible nomination. Because he's just kind of a, he's like a low B tier role in the film. He just kind of plays himself. Like it's not.
He should have been nominated for as the yellow M&M in M&M commercials.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does he do that?
No, yeah, he does that. He's the voice of the yellow M&M. But it's
You
Troy
learn
Kotzer.
something new every day.
Future Oscar winner Troy Kotzer, liker of a Tanner Dykstra tweet about the movie Coda. He's also my personal pick, not only because he liked my tweet that one time, but also because I think he's by and far the best performance out of the group.
I agree. He is my pick and my favorite. The exchange about sparking up a fatty really sealed the deal for me.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, of course.
I mean, there's nothing better than sparking up a fatty, and there's also nothing better than Troy Kotzer winning the goddamn actor in a supporting role Oscar, because I'm for both on that as well.
The only thing better than Troy Kotzer winning for supporting actor is Cody Smith McPhee winning, because he's my personal choice. I have a big Power of the Dog bias, as we'll see throughout this, but I do think Troy Kotzer should win. And even though it's not my favorite performance, it's a very good one. So sure, I'll allow it.
What about when he did like orgasm stuff with his hands? And that was great.
Abram, you're saying that Cody Smith McPhee will win?
No, I think he should win.
Okay.
Troy Kotzer will win.
Okay, sounds good. That sounds good.
Yes.
Okay.
These are two of the most clear-cut.
We're breezing through these. It's gonna be easy breezy from here on out, folks.
Yeah, you wait till you get to the non-acting categories. We got 2 more to go through. Let's continue the pattern best actress. This was the one that I saved for last because I have no idea. I've read some stuff, but like I really am kind of copying I read some anonymous voter thing the other day, and that's who I'm copying for the ones I don't know.
I didn't actually end up reading that, so I don't know what that person predicted.
Timo, who did the anonymous voter?
Oh, yeah, why don't you go first? You can just do that, and I'll know.
I think the anonymous voter. It was between they didn't like Kristen Stewart's performance in Spencer, which is my personal pick. I want Kristen Stewart to win because Spencer was a good movie and it got no nominations except for this one. But Penelope Cruz was who I saw as winning with Parallel Mothers.
Oh, that would be awesome. And frankly, I kind of think she's in the bottom of discussion in terms of who's winning, but I would be all for that, though. My personal pick and who I'm predicting to win is Kristen Stewart. I know that's ridiculous, and as you'll see, there's a couple things in here where I want to do something a little spicy. Because it's a lot more fun. And as I'm just kind of resisting that temptation to just go with what everyone else is predicting. But this is my big example of that. I think not only is Kristen Stewart my favorite performance of last year, Spencer one of the best movies of last year. I really think she deserves the win, and I think it would kind of be a surprise Oscar moment to watch her go up on stage.
Yeah. Tucker, I am in agreement that she absolutely deserves the win. She is the best performance of the year. But if I'm going to be correct, 100% correcto, always correct boy, you gotta go Jessica Chastain. She's got the momentum.
That's the front runner.
She's been picking up the awards. For some reason, Kristen Stewart didn't make it into a lot of other award shows, and Jessica Chastain has been filling that void. And she's filling in the classic Oscars thing of being in a biopic. She's under a lot of makeup. So I think all previous signs of who the Oscars likes to vote for point towards Chastain.
Yeah, of course. Kristen Stewart and Spencer, not a biopic. Just want to put that out there.
Well, it's a bit more art house than the eyes.
Nicole Kidman, not a biopic.
Well. I'm not saying.
I'm just fucking.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
You are destroying Tanner with facts and logic.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Yes.
Abram, what do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know what any of these movies are.
I guess none of these actresses are in Best Picture nominated films.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put down Jessica Chastain, not because I knew she was a front runner, but because I think she's attractive and I like Molly's Game. Yep. So based on those criterion, I'm going to give her both my should win and will win.
Yeah, okay. If I may provide some more wood to the fire of Jessica Chastain. She is a producer on the film that she is nominated for. She is a producer in Hollywood. Otherwise, she's been working on
355.
For the 355, and she has her own production company, so she's going to be making some things. She's ingrained in the Hollywood business. I would also say that she sort of has this narrative thing going where she's not going to be on the red carpet at the Oscars. She's instead going to be in the Oscars ceremony hall supporting her makeup team, because they are obviously doing those non-televised. So she has that sort of push or maybe protest sort of thing going for her that differentiates her from the rest of the group.
I just want to quickly say, because we have no other source to talk about The Eyes of Tammy Faye, I've had very low expectations going into that movie, and I just ended up watching it one day as I'm knocking off things that are nominated for Oscars, and I just thought it was quite good. And I think she is a fantastic performance, one of my favorite leading female performances of the year. But if she wins, I'll totally be happy with it. I know a lot of people will be upset about it, and that's fine with me. I don't care what they think.
But yeah, and Chastain has been nominated before. I don't believe Kristen Stewart has, and Stewart is younger than Chastain, so she's got more opportunities to win in the future.
Yeah. Shame though, Olivia Colman. Love seeing her up on stage, but I probably don't think she'll win this time around. And neither did the anonymous voter that I read about.
Yeah. Tucker saying that Coleman will never win another Oscar again. Bold prediction there from Tucker.
Huge prediction.
Yeah, put me down on that. Check in with me in 60 years?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Best Actor. Across the aisle,
Oh.
the nominees for this one, Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield, Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith in King Richard, and Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. So who do you have for this one, guys?
Who do you think, Timo? Who do you think is gonna? Who do you think is the predicted
I
winner?
really don't know who the predicted winner is. It couldn't possibly be Will Smith in King Richard, could it?
No, that's who it is, Timo.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. No,
just like the undeniable leader in this field. I don't know if there's been one that he's missed out on. So it's gonna be Will Smith.
It's gonna be Will Smith. This is the funny thing about this is even thinking back to when we saw this movie when it came out in September or October or something like that.
November.
It was one of the one of the first one of the first Oscar baity movies we saw. And even at that point, we went in seeing it saying, okay, Will Smith will be nominated for an Oscar, and it's very likely that he'll win. And that hasn't changed. That same narrative has stayed the same the entire time. So I'm predicting him to win. I don't think any of us are not. But just going around the horn on the more interesting discussion, which is who we think should win. And I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Andrew Garfield from Tick, Tick, Boom for my personal favorite.
I also think Andrew Garfield should win. I think he actually does deserve it more than Will Smith based on the role that he this year's role alone. I'd say that Andrew Garfield definitely deserves it. He got picked up for Tick, Tick, Boom by Lin-Manuel Miranda without knowing if Andrew Garfield could sing, and he does a fantastic job not only in the musical theatrical side of Tick, Tick, Boom, but also in the just standard drama Oscar baity moment, or not, maybe not Oscar baity because that usually has a negative connotation, but in the dramatized moments of Tick, Tick, Boom as well. And he captures the comedy and the drama that are sort of intertwined in that story very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hot right now. He's one hot item in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's a very attractive individual. Yeah.
I give Will Smith a should and will. I think he's quite excellent in King Richard. I like King Richard, I think, more than the average Oscar enjoyer. Well, actually, I'm not even an Oscar enjoyer. The average person who's seen Oscars movies.
Yeah.
But no, I would like him to win.
I'm in agreement with Abram. I think he's a will and a should win for me. I don't know. The only other one that I could think being close is Benedict Cumberbatch, but I just still feel weird about his performance. I don't like him doing the Western accent in the movie.
He gets too hammy, I think. I said it on the review, and I still feel here. I think he goes to like 107% sometimes.
Yeah, sure. we can all give a good chuckle at Javier Bardem being nominated for Being the Ricardos.
Oh, Javier,
he should have been nominated for Dune.
True. Stilgar,
dude. He's like in it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, the leading role of Dune. Everyone knows him.
Everyone loves him.
Stilgar.
What are we moving on to next?
Well, what do we want to move on to next? I kind of want to talk about some screenplays. Let's do both of the screenplay categories right now. Starting with the one that they're both a little tricky. Which one do you guys want to start with?
They're both very tricky.
I feel like there's a lot of categories this year where you kind of can't go wrong. There's a lot of categories where these are all good.
Mm-hmm. Let's do adapted.
Let's do adapted. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you have for adapted winning, Tanner?
Coda. I think Coda's gonna.
We didn't go through the nominees.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
The nominees for adapted screenplay are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog.
Mm-hmm. Now, here we have a classic pair-up of Coda versus The Power of the Dog. Okay, we've had it once before in the supporting actor category, and it's going to be a common thread throughout the rest of this video because these are the two heavyweights going into the night. So, which is ironic, considering that Coda is nominated for 3 Oscars and Power of the Dog is nominated for 12 Oscars. But Coda's probably going to beat out The Power of the Dog in every category that it comes up against it in. The adapted screenplay is an interesting one because those are definitely 1 and 2. But if you look at the track record, the momentum that Coda's been having, it's Coda. It's picked up a lot of awards recently. I think Power of the Dog might have won something at Critics' Choice or something like that, but those very rarely cross over into Oscars. And I think what's important about adapted screenplay is to consider we have to lower our IQ a number of points to get into the mind of an Oscars voter, an Academy voter. Okay,
Yeah.
So true.
When they see the words adapted screenplay, what they see is screenplay, not the words adapted screenplay. They are voting for a movie, for a screenplay that they liked. They are not voting for the best adapted screenplay. They're not, because by that metric, I'd say Dune is probably the best adapted screenplay. And honestly,
but the emphasis is on the other word. It's the adapted screenplay.
Exactly.
No,
So I think Coda will win this category, and honestly, I would give it to Dune based on if we're judging a category on best adapted screenplay.
Okay, Abram, do you agree? Do you disagree?
No, I think we're fucking smoking crack if we think that this is anything other than Drive My Car's category.
Wow.
Because I don't think Drive My Car is really going to win anything else, even though I think that it's not.
Well,
I don't think it's going to win best. Sorry, it's going to win. Sorry, it is going to win international feature film. 100%. That is my bad. My apology. But let's say this in the competitive categories.
Yeah.
I think that adapted screenplay is not only deserved. I think it will win because I don't think that when we're thinking about, even if we're just thinking about screenplay, fuck the adapted part for a second. I don't think there's a better script this year than Drive My Car.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a lock. You want to give it something, you give it this because I mean, because Coda
similar like a Parasite sort of deal, international and screenplay award.
I just think
Best Picture.
I think you throw at something other than the one that's obviously going to win, and I think that it's probably this one.
I'm in total agreement, Abram. I think Drive My Car. It's a short story and it's a long movie. Enough said, dude.
They adapted it from shorter to longer, which is actually the exact opposite of basically everything else here. But you know what? We're actually all turning against Tanner here because Drive My Car is my prediction as well. And I think it's my favorite to win that. It certainly is the most written film that we watched.
It has the most writing.
I can I rewind? I kind of forgot that Drive My Car was in this category because I was so focused on Coda will win. Drive My Car is my personal pick as well. I kind of forgot that was in there.
Yeah. But I also agree with Abram, and I think that something that's interesting to kind of, dumb my mind down, of course, to get to the level of an Oscars voter, but try to worm my way into one of their brains. I do think that there is a stronger narrative to giving not international feature film nominated films. Giving international films wins in other categories that is not just international feature. So I think that this is one where not only does it deserve it, but it is the only foreign film in this category, and I think that would be a big upset. Kind of, I do think that the people who have seen this movie recognize that obviously its screenplay is its strongest aspect, and stronger so than even Coda and Power of the Dog, which are the other leaders in terms of the American films that are nominated.
Other leaders in terms of previous award shows and stuff like that. But there you have it.
Enough of this derivative adapted nonsense. Let's talk about something original for once. Original screenplay. The nominees are Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. So both categories of screenplay get their international feature, but is it gonna win? What do you guys think?
Worst person in the world? No.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Because the adapted screenplay is one of the toughest categories, I think, of the night.
Absolutely.
Because I think you have your trio of Belfast, Don't Look Up, and Licorice Pizza. Okay, those are the three thorns in my side right now. And here's what I will say. Okay. So the Oscars ballot is done on a ranked choice. Okay, so basically, like, you list 1 through 5. If your number one choice gets knocked out, boom, you have a new number one. That's how it works. I think that there's a lot of people who really hate Don't Look Up, as evidenced by the larger conversation around it, and even some critical reception. And I also think there's a lot of people who are going to be harsh on Licorice Pizza for some of the more controversial elements of that screenplay. The underage relationship, the Asian racism in that. But I think there's almost no one who is going to put Belfast at the bottom of that list. Yeah. Belfast does not have haters in the Academy, okay? And that's why I think Belfast will win this award.
Whoa,
okay?
that's your insane
Yeah.
politicking going on right now.
Brenna's got the narrative. Belfast isn't going to get anything else on Oscars night. It's going to get adapted screenplay, or it's going to get original screenplay. Excuse me. And as for what I think should win, let's go with.
He's just picking at random right now.
Let's go with. Actually, I'm gonna go with worst person in the world. I think that I'm gonna give it to both the international films. I think are very, very, very well written this year.
Yeah, the two movies that came out not from English writers.
Exactly.
I think Belfast will win. And then I was trying to pick which one I think should win, because I don't think Belfast is a very well-written movie. Mm-hmm. I gave it to Licorice Pizza because I think the dialogue is good, and then I remembered that I think that the movie is vapid and has nothing to say, so I had to cross that out. I was working in pen, so I couldn't erase.
Why would you not put King Richard? Isn't that your obvious favorite?
I did put King Richard. That's what I was doing. I crossed out Licorice Pizza, and then I wiped the turkey juices off my fingers because I didn't get I was doing this again. And I put a star next to King Richard.
This turkey? Let's talk about that for a little bit.
It was Black Forest, so it really wasn't juicy. I just thought it'd be funnier to say it that way.
Black Forest turkey? I thought they only did ham.
Well, King Richard screenplay. I think it's a good screenplay. I think it's got emotional moments. I think it's kind of witty in a lot of these sequences. But most importantly, I think that
Will Smith rips a fat fucking fart.
I think I can personally poke the fewest number of holes in its themes or its characters, even though I have some issues with the characterization of Will Smith. Whereas I can riddle Licorice Pizza, and especially Don't Look Up, and even Belfast to an extent, with things I think are wrong in the screenplay. So, and I'm the arbiter of screenplays.
Of course, as we all know.
Yes.
So, Belfast will, King Richard should.
Okay. For me, maybe I'm going into hot take land, but I think Licorice Pizza is going to win.
Sure, yeah.
Based on its episodic nature and its out of the ordinariness in terms of screenplay. Academy voters in their infinitude, unintelligence.
Jesus Christ.
Unintelligentsia.
I'm trying to use too many big words to make myself sound smarter than them.
Yes.
I think that they will be attracted to the dialogue and attracted to this kind of different nature of the screenplay and to PTA. And Licorice Pizza will win, but I don't really want it to because I would like for Worst Person in the World to win original screenplay because I think it is probably the best out of all of them in there.
Yeah, so this is where my real spice comes in because I think
I know what you're gonna say.
Don't Look Up is going to win, and I would like it to win, even if just for the memes. I mean, actually, out of these movies, Belfast is my favorite, but Don't Look Up is second. I know that's an uncommon opinion, but I think that Adam McKay being the Hollywood writer that he is, I think even just that name and the popularity of this film, this is probably one of the films that this is probably the film out of all these that most people saw. And you're right, it is controversial, but I don't know if that necessarily applies to Academy voters. And plus, just the idea that this goes on stage and wins for writing, which is across the board something that fans obviously strongly dislike, I think is in my mind a strong enough, like, memorable Oscar moment for that they're just like, yeah, and we'll get a ton of stuff on Twitter afterwards saying, God, the Academy sucks. Why did Don't Look Up win, beating out Worst Person in the World? They hate international films. I can see this forming in my mind. It's so clear in my mind.
And here's the thing about Don't Look Up, Tucker. If you look back on other screenplay winners, especially original screenplays, the past 3 years, I believe, the voters have erred towards things that sort of have this social cutting edge to them.
Yeah.
Your Parasites, Your Promising Young Woman's, and I forget what the one in between that was. But they all have this sort of thing in common.
Well, I mean, if you can give a screenplay to be Promising Young Woman, you can give it to anything. So fuck it, give it Don't Look Up.
So I think that your choice isn't super.
It's also not super off considering it won the Writers Guild of America award last night.
Yeah, it won original at the WGAs last night.
Yep.
I would just like to interject here and just say it's really interesting listening to you guys have this conversation.
Oh,
that's all I want to say. It's kind of neat. All this fucking Oscar. It's like with Weatherman.
Yeah, but I will say, Tucker, one more thing before I move off.
It is like the Weatherman,
I looked at the WGA record predictiveness for predicting the original screenplay at the Oscars. It's like 50% over the last 10 years.
It's because Academy voters
they are on a roll, though. They are on a roll with they gave it to Parasite, Promising a Woman, and maybe this next.
Coin flip
Okay.
is good odds. That's 1 and 2.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
Do a new category.
We're going to
Yes.
go to everyone's favorite category and the category that the Oscars really, really love the most, even though let's talk about best song. We just got to get it out of the way.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
you're right. Let's rip off the Band-Aid.
Oh, sure. Billie
Did I even vote
Eilish.
for this?
The nominees, Billie
Oh,
Eilish,
sorry.
indeed
Sorry.
nominated.
You gotta
for,
roll right into these, Timo.
I don't have the creators of the songs. I just have the songs.
I can do them.
Oh,
I can do
okay.
them.
Yeah,
Holy
Abram,
shit.
go for it.
Abram's
Be
gonna do
Alive, King Richard. Oh boy. So this one is from Encanto.
Oh well, I don't have
Dos
Dos Oreguitas.
Yes.
from Encanto. Sorry, Timo, I don't have what you wanted either, but fuck it, I'm already too far into stop.
Be Alive is
Okay.
by Beyonce.
Why don't you do this, Tanner?
Be Alive, Beyonce. Dos Oreguitas by Lin-Manuel Miranda from Encanto. Down to Joy by Van Morrison from Belfast. No Time to Die by Billie Eilish from No Time to Die. And Somehow You Do by somebody from 4 Good Days. I don't know who sings that song. It doesn't matter. It's fifth. It's
Diane
not going to
Warren.
win. Thank you, Tucker.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I know on the top of my head, of course.
Yeah.
So I put down the song from Encanto. So I haven't seen Encanto, which I feel is really It's really not, because I don't care to see Encanto, but it got nominated for a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I actually might watch it tonight. That's not true. So I put that down as a win-win.
Yeah.
And then I forgot that the Belfast song was done by Van Morrison, and I love Van Morrison, but I actually don't. That really wouldn't have swayed me from picking No Time to Die. I think No Time to Die is both one of the better Bond songs of recent years. I think it's better than the Sam Smith song for sure. I'm also a big Billie Eilish enjoyer. And also No Time to Die, the second best film of last year, didn't get enough nominations, and I can't give it for what? Sound? Can't beat Dune for sound, so I gotta give it something. So I give it No Time to Die.
Oh.
Somebody
else go.
Abram, your and I reasoning's pretty damn similar. No Time to Die. Billie Eilish, hot artist. It's a good song. I think it is.
She is, Timo.
Yeah.
What?
Culturally, she's very popular.
Popular artist. There you go. And even though it doesn't compare to Skyfall by Adele, I think that it being a Bond sound, I think it just being James Bond will float it to the top, you know?
So you're predicting it to win?
I think it will win, and I kind of want it to win too. I don't have strong opinions on this category, if you can believe it. Yes, Abram?
What's up with this Bruno? Don't talk about Bruno song. Why wasn't that nominated?
Disney.
There's a really great question there, Abram. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, Dos Oreguitas will win because it's like we don't talk about Bruno it's like we don't talk about Bruno winning. That's not the case. They are doing a live performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno at the Oscars to sort of like as like a we're sorry we didn't nominate it. But
interesting.
Also, given that Encanto made by Disney, the Oscars broadcast and put on by Disney, so they can kind of just do whatever they want during the
That's
ceremony.
true.
Yes. Tucker, go ahead.
Thank you. That's so generous. My pick is Dos Oreguitas, and I'm gonna say I like the Belfast song. That opening bit with the shots of like modern day Belfast was pretty cool. You know, why not?
Yeah. No Time to Die is going to win. Billie Eilish is probably
a hot artist.
She's a she's very popular artist. They should have got her to perform at the Oscars, but they didn't. She's also, I don't know if she'll be there at all actually, because she's on tour right now. But Beyonce has certainly not been at any of these award shows. And I think if We Don't Talk About Bruno was nominated, it would have won. But it wasn't, so it's not going to. So yeah, No Time to Die will win, and I think Dos Oreguitas should win. I like that song quite a bit, and it'll give Lin-Manuel his little EGOT.
Ooh,
We Don't Talk About Bruno was not nominated, so thus it will not win.
Exactly, precisely.
I actually agree with that. Yeah,
precisely.
Least controversial statement of the night.
Yeah, right.
We gotta get off of original song. This category is ruining our brains.
Truly, it is. Should we talk about the documentary feature?
Sure.
They're not really talking about that one before the ceremony, right? That one gets its own ceremony slot, I think.
Yeah, it does. It does indeed.
Good. Okay. Well, what do you guys think is going to win for this one? The nominees are Ascension, Attica, Flee, Summer of Soul, parentheses, ... or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire.
Yeah, I can tell you which one's not going to win, which is Writing with Fire, because in the dumbest possible a choice. They're not releasing this movie onto streaming until the day or week after the Oscars stream.
It's the next day after.
What? Who came up with that? You just killed your own film. But my choice is Flea, because I think for win and for not win, because it's interesting to see an animated, or win and personal win, because it's interesting to see an animated documentary, period. Also is a very good film. Does talk about a lot of current political stuff. I mean, I'm sure most of these do, though I haven't seen them all. Actually, Flea's the only one I have seen. But yeah, I think that's for both for me.
Sure. I think that Summer of Soul is going to win. You have Questlove, directorial debut from him. He was the music supervisor
it's
at
nice
the
to
Oscars.
See a fan of our show, you know?
Yeah. He's what?
He loves Quest, dude.
Oh, I see. I get you. Very nice one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I like how all three of us got it, but Tanner didn't.
He was like the DJ at the Oscars last year and announced this film. He's like, "Hey, everyone, go check out Summer of Soul. Come to Hulu this summer or whatever." And so I think it's pretty obvious that the Academy really likes him, and they're gonna give it to Summer of Soul. Also because it's a very, very good documentary. Released widely on Hulu, it has a lot of music and sort of uncovers this like lost cultural festival that happened in New York that had like a ton of famous Black artists of the time perform at it. It's super interesting and has the Questlove love from the Academy on its side. But if I were to pick my personal one, I'd also go Flea for all the things that Tucker said.
Okay.
I don't know what any of these are, and I can't even pretend to pick one.
Okay.
All right.
Just say Summer of Soul. It's gonna win. It's gonna win.
Summer of Soul is not gonna win. Flea is gonna win, and I want Flea to win. Summer of Soul is a close second, but it won't win because Flea is novel. Flea being this animated, like sort of this animated documentary with the way it deals with its subjects. I remember when it came out, it got a lot of media coverage. You know, a film's getting media coverage when you hear about it on NPR, and I did. So it's gonna be Flea.
Sure. Okay.
All right. What should we do next? Should we do another feature? Maybe go over some oceans to the international land?
Oh. Yeah, sure. This will be an easy one.
Okay. So Lunana, a yak in the classroom from Bhutan, is nominated, along with Flea from Denmark, The Hand of God from Italy, Drive My Car from Japan, and The Worst Person in the World from Norway. So only 2 new films on this list. The international feature does get a lot of bleed into other categories this year, which is always good to see. But which one do you guys think is going to win?
Drive My Car.
Yeah.
And it should.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Yes.
Easy.
Easy.
One of the
easy
categories of the night.
Yeah.
I think Drive My Car is going to win. But we'll
go watch a review.
Yeah, I think Drive My Car is good. Quite good, in fact.
Yeah.
So hope it wins.
Fact,
Although
top of our list.
Worst Person in the World is good too, though. So I wouldn't be upset if that won. And mayhaps some little switcheroos happen. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, we got a couple more to get through. Keeping in the feature land, should we do animated feature next?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
the hell not?
Okay.
This is easy one.
Another easy one. Yes. We've addressed it already. Oh, sorry, Timo. Sorry. Go ahead and do the
Jesus
nomination.
Christ.
I am so ready to talk
Tanner,
about these Oscar winners.
Holster your gun.
Holster.
Get the finger off the trigger.
Put the
hop
safety
off your horse,
on.
every metaphor I can possibly get to. Sword.
He's taking his sword out. I got to do these before he kills me.
Yeah.
The nominees for animated feature are Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Abram's laughing. Why are you laughing, Abram?
Raya and the Last Dragon is not a very good movie. I feel like there had to have been another movie that could have been nominated in its place.
I don't think Mitchells versus the Machines is very
Ron's
good either.
gone wrong.
Yeah, no. If we had to give a worst animated film, I would go Mitchell's because I hate that movie. But it's a fine movie. I'm just being a bitch. But this is another lock of the night. I mean, Encanto has such a buzz around it, and it being Lin-Manuel Miranda and being nominated for other categories, that's going to win. The Luca is the better movie, so that one absolutely should win.
Does Lin-Manuel he makes like fucking 8 movies a year now? I feel like.
Yeah, he wrote the music for Encanto. He wrote the music for Vivo, which also came out this year, and he directed.
Jesus Christ!
And he directed Tick Tick Boom.
What about In the Heights?
Oh yeah, he also he was in that. And I think he also he's a
He
producer on
wrote
it,
the music for it too.
but it was pre-existing music because it's
Oh.
from a Broadway play.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't his Broadway play.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so
He wrote
still
the
did.
music on that
Yeah,
one.
he was, but he
So
wasn't
I'm not
like.
wrong.
I'm sure he was involved, but he didn't like have to actively work on a bunch of it.
And he was the best actor in that movie.
Exactly. But Encanto is going to win. Although, Tucker, you brought up Mitchell's versus the Machines. Everyone says Encanto is going to win, but Mitchell's versus the Machines is probably a closer second than a lot of people would like to admit. But despite that, I think that Flea should win. I think that for all the reasons that Tucker said over in documentary, I think that it's really inventive. It's a really inventive way, and it crosses over into international and documentary. It hits a lot of these things out of the park, and it does them very, very well.
Though it's not the first to do it, by the way. I just want to tell everyone to go watch Persepolis, which basically does the exact same thing in terms of an animated immigrant story told through a first-person point of view.
A great book,
that's also a great
by the
movie.
way.
Yeah, it is.
I agree completely with Tanner. I think Encanto is going to win, but I would rather Flea take home the prize. As you said my points basically.
Yes.
Yep.
So I was actually not when I was laughing when you said Ryan the Last Dragon, it's just because I was remembering how funny Aquafina is in the movie. So based on that, I am not going to give it to Ryan the Last Dragon because that's a terrible movie. It's not terrible. It's just not very good.
Yeah.
I have Luca will and should win, but that's only because I haven't seen Encanto. But it probably will win. Maybe I should watch Encanto soon, huh?
Yeah, maybe
tonight.
It's a good movie.
Well,
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Luca's pretty.
Luca is pretty, isn't it?
Do you think that the LGBT romance plotline in Luca has any pull with the Academy?
No.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
No, not what. Especially when it came out in July and Encanto came out in November. It's just a lot fresher in Academy voters' minds again because they are dummies and forget what happens as soon as a movie ends.
They have no memory.
None of us do that, by the way. We have all perfect memories, and we remember every film we've seen like we saw it yesterday.
Especially all of the names of the characters.
What happened in Out of Africa?
They take a plane out of Africa.
Boom.
How come Jungle Cruise doesn't have any nominations across these categories?
But Free Guy is really the Jungle Cruise. Yeah, Free Guy is really the Jungle Cruise of the nominees this year.
And speaking of Free Guy, let's talk about visual effects.
I hoped you would do that.
The nominees, along with Free Guy for visual effects, are Dune, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and The Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home. So who's going to win this one? I know who I think is going to win, but...
Who could it possibly be? It's Dune. Dune's going to win. And Dune should win.
Yeah, I think this is an 8 for 8 right here.
Yep.
I like No Time to Die has like a missile that was CGI. I don't really know why that was even nominated for visual effects.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's lots of hidden VFX in that movie.
I'm sure
It's a blockbuster.
And Dune has the penne pasta ship.
That's true.
Daniel Craig is like 55. He must have been VFX in some respect or another. But no, I think it's obviously Dune. I think Dune is visually amazing. I can't believe Spider-Man No Way Home got a nomination in this category.
Frankly, is it better than Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi is some really weird shit.
Shang-Chi has some bad CGI. I think No Way Home deserves it more. Yeah, but the dragon is detailed, but it's also gray.
Really,
so I don't
really
care.
Stupid. What a terrible plot point.
Yeah. The dragon is also an ending battle on a gray, rocky non-space. So I'm gonna say no to Shang-Chi.
Visual creativity.
Sorry, Dustin.
Yeah, sorry, Dustin.
All right, what's next?
Up next is I think we're gonna do costume design up next because we got a couple to get out of the way. We are saving the ones that have been shunned by the Academy to put them towards the end so that they get a revered position because. Well, I think I speak for all of us that the Academy made the total wrong move. Not the Academy, Disney and ABC in forcing the Academy to do it, as it was revealed a while ago that the Academy didn't want to. But costume design, the nominees, Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. Who do you have for this one?
Abrams saw most of these. I'm very proud of him.
Wow.
For costuming?
Costumes. Yeah.
Did you
Okay.
see Cruella? You seem like a
No.
Cruella watcher.
Oh, he did
I-
not. Okay.
I've been
You
told
just
by
you smell like a Cruella watcher. You know?
I've been told by both my family and by Jean that the movie looks dumb and they didn't want to watch it. So I never had an opportunity to watch Cruella.
The
We saw it
movie
in
is
theaters.
dumb. The movie is dumb, and you shouldn't watch it. But regardless, it's gonna win costume design.
Yeah.
It's a movie about fashion. It's won previous costume design awards. I don't really know what else you can say here.
No,
Yeah, I mean-
it's not going to win. That's because Nightmare Alley is going to win for costume design because it's a period piece and it's farther in the past than any of the other films, I think, and
That's a good point.
therefore, and it has great costumes. I think the costumes look really good in that movie, and it's
Yeah.
not going to pick up very many other awards on the big night, so it will win costume design.
Is that also your should?
It's my want.
Kimo?
It's my both. I want it to,
Okay.
and I think it will.
Well, you're wrong because it's not going to win because Cruella is going to win because it's a period piece and it also has the best costumes of the year.
Yeah.
Though my personal pick would be West Side Story because I think
Likewise
I
here.
prefer the costumes in that. Though Cruella, in terms of its fashion, the variety of it has a way better variety of costumes than anything else here.
Mhm.
Also, we watched Cyrano a couple days ago. It's a pretty good movie. Didn't have high hopes. I was pleasantly surprised. We're not going to talk about it anywhere else because it wasn't nominated anywhere else.
Right. Abram.
Well, what do you think I want to win? It's Dune.
Yeah.
With I think there's like one or two exceptions where I did not put Dune as my want to win for any of
Mhm.
these.
Mhm.
I think Dune has great costume design. I think that I'm probably too biased to imagine that it would win. You're selling me on Cruella because if there's one thing I know about the movie, it's that it looks interesting. So I'll
It actually
join
is
the
a
Cruella
very
bandwagon.
visually good movie, like surprisingly so. We saw it
yeah,
in
the
theaters and we were
set-
like, "Hey,
yeah.
hold on, this is actually very quality."
Yeah. They put a lot of money into it, and by God, it shows.
Yeah, it does.
That's kind of the trick with costumes. You
Yeah.
pay, the more expensive they are, the better they tend to look.
Yeah.
Okay, we got two more categories to do. Maybe, I don't know. I can't decide. Do we place director before or after our second class categories that we love so much?
Let's go last. We've done enough
Yeah.
here. We'll tackle those and we'll do the big two.
Yeah. let's
All
do it.
right. So
Everything
before
else
we
is not going to be
before-
shown.
Before
Yeah,
we
there's-
get
there's-
to those, there
Okay.
is one more that we get to do,
One
which
more,
is
okay.
cinematography. Let's talk about this one because I think it's really
This is
tough
a-
to pick this one. This is a really hard
This is the
category to
most
pick.
competitive category of the night by
Yes.
far.
And
Mhm.
the competitors are Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. There's a
Insane
lot of
category.
good cinematography going on in all of these. So which one are you guys picking to win?
Oh God, what did I put for this?
I'll go first
Jesus.
because you're
for
umming and
it.
ahhing over the obvious answer, which I think is Dune.
Yes, it is.
I don't think anything other than Dune could win. They're all close, but first of all, this should just be a career award for Greg Fraser. Tanner, correct me on his pronunciation of his
I
name.
think it is. I think it's either Fraser or Frazier.
No,
I
he's
don't
talking
know.
about the Greg part.
Oh,
Well, he's got
because
an
it's
I
an
in it.
Yeah.
Greg. Was it Greg?
Greg.
I think it's just Greg. Greg.
Okay.
Greg.
Greg Fraser.
The
has done
Batman guy.
Yeah. The Batman guy, the Rogue One guy, the Killing Them Softly guy, the Dune guy.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah, you say career award though, but no one cares about the cinematography in Rogue One, and no one's heard of the other one. The Batman just came out, so I don't necessarily think.
In my opinion, it's an early sign of a wonderful career award.
Oh, I see.
I-
You did good on this movie award.
I really genuinely honestly think that this gentleman is going to be one of the next Roger Deakins in the sense that the more like the higher fidelity Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves, Sam Mendes-esque blockbusters, I think he's going to become the new de facto DP, and I think that's for very good reason. I think Dune is beautiful, as are his other films, so I think Dune should win.
Sure.
Okay.
I disagree for both. I think that Power of the Dog will win. I think that its cinematography is one of the things that is. I mean, obviously, all these movies are widely praised across the board, but I feel like Dune leans so heavily on its production design. That's where people really see it winning, which we might get to if that's how we feel that comes out. But the cinematography kind of almost takes a back seat to you looking at the sets and stuff. But Power of the Dog is all like it's the nomad land of this year, and West Side Story would be my vote because I like that movie a lot. Though actually, I watched Charity Macbeth last night, and the only good thing about that is the cinematography. So Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Power
What
of
are
the Dog
you
will win, but
picking?
tragedy. Power of the Dog will win, but Tragedy in Macbeth should win because it actually is the most visually interesting movie I watched last year. Even though I hate that movie.
Okay, Timo, you go next.
Okay, I hate to agree with Tucker that Power of the Dog is going to win
Why
because
would you like the cinematography of that movie? Why would you hate to agree with me on that?
no, I don't like the cinematography of that movie. I think it's really poorly lit. I think the movie has like zero visual interest to it, besides from your occasional insert. I think the inserts are the only good cinematography in that film. It's a hot take. I just don't think it's interesting to look at beyond like 5 shots that I remember from the film. Whereas lots of other films in this list are really visually interesting. But I agree with Abram. I actually think Dune is going to win cinematography because it has
Wait,
a lot of big, many shots.
I thought you said you agreed with me.
I agreed with you in The Power of the Dog is going to win, but I want Dune to win.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
This is like
Okay.
hard.
I was flip flopping. I was flip flopping all the live long day between Dune and The Power of the Dog because The Power of the Dog is nominated for 12 categories. Okay, and as we've discussed and will continue to discuss, it's probably not going to win a lot of them because it's going up against the powerhouse Dune in some of them and the real late bloomer hotshot Coda in the rest of them. So I'm gonna go Dune. I think Dune's gonna take this one. I think Abram has a point in Greg Fraser, because Tucker, you said the Batman just came out, but I'd like to remind viewers that as the time we're recording, which is a Monday, Oscar voting doesn't close until tomorrow.
Sure.
That's plenty of time. That's over. That's nearly a month for the Batman to come out. Oscar voters to go see it. See, oh hey, the guy who did the Batman, a really good looking movie, also did Dune, a really good looking movie. This guy could be the next big thing. And you say that it's an early on career win for him, but as I just learned today, Hans Zimmer had a very early on career win for The Lion King, and he'll probably get another win this year. So they like to, it could be a bookend sort of deal. So I'm gonna go Dune. I think it's gonna sweep a lot of these tech categories. I don't know if cinematography is classified as a tech category a lot of the time, but I think it's adjacent
below the
to
line
tech
category.
Yeah, below the line. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's going to be below the line.
Top 6 categories.
Yeah.
Not screenplay, acting, director, or picture.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Dune. I think Academy voters are going to be swept up in all this, like the visuals and the sound and the yada yada yada, and just do Dune across the board.
Sound.
Yeah. Whatever. As for what should win,
you flip flopper.
I'm gonna go West Side Story. I think it's shot very, very well. I think that everything is very well constructed, and I appreciate the use of sets and real locations and stuff like that. So I am going to say, oh, sorry,
production design.
Oh, sorry. Well, the sets are shot very well, I should say.
Sure. Okay. The camera.
I appreciated the use of a camera in West Side Story.
I did. I'm glad that they had a camera on set.
Otherwise, yeah.
West Side Story did have the most lens flares this year, so
this is true.
That's the marker of good cinematography.
So there you go.
All right. Let's move on to our relegated categories, and I want to start with our shorts because I feel like most of us haven't seen them. I definitely picked randomly, but Tanner, you've seen these, right? Some of them?
I've seen all of them, every single one. Okay,
so
here we go.
What do you think? You should save yours for last. Let us say our randomly picked ones.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. We'll start with animated short because it comes first in the alphabet. For animated short, Affairs of the Art, Bestia, Box Ballet, Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. I'm just gonna say which one I picked. I picked Robin. I like that title.
Good pick. Oh, you like the title even? That okay?
I haven't seen
everyone
any of
else.
These.
Do you guys have random picks, or you just want to?
I think that the Duel should win, but it wasn't nominated, so it's not going to.
I think the last Duel should win.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting.
For animated short.
Well, Abram, or Timo, that's a very good pick because Robin is going to win. It's Netflix. It's the only family.
Can I watch it?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
okay, I will watch it.
No, you can't watch it.
You're not allowed.
I'm forbidden.
Timo just leaves and goes to watch Robin. Oh, can I watch it right now? Dunk. But yeah, sorry. Netflix, very accessible to a lot of people. It's the only family-friendly one in these nominees, which I think is important based on previous wins. It is Aardman, which is a very recognizable and very well-regarded animation studio for the Academy. I think it's Robin Robin. I also think Robin Robin should win, even though it's just good. It's not really, it didn't really blow me away, but it's the most okay of all of the animated shorts because all of them were
not good.
It's the weakest one I've seen in the 3 years that I've done it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Robin.
This is more of a logistical question. How would you even go about seeing these shorts? Like, where are they available?
They're available.
Oftentimes, theaters will play like
Yes.
a roundups of all the shorts. You can go see all of the animated shorts in about. They take about an hour and a half to watch all of them.
Yeah.
Not just the animated shorts, though.
And
they'll do roundups of the other ones as well. That's how we've seen them the last 2 years, though I abstained for multiple strange reasons over the course of the last few weeks. I haven't seen them. But yeah, you can see them in theaters, but also probably most of them are available online on different streaming services. I don't think you can see all of them that way.
Netflix. Yeah, Netflix has really dominated these shorts categories. They have 3 in documentary. They have 3 of the 5 on the streaming service. So yeah, if you wanted to watch them, there's quite a few on Netflix.
Well, then I'll clear my schedule and do something else instead. What's next?
Sounds good.
Speaking of documentary shorts, let's do them real quickly.
Sure.
The nominees are Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs for Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. My random pick is The Queen of Basketball.
Oh, that's a good pick, Timo, because that is far and away the best one.
Yes, let's go. I'm really nailing these random picks. I do know how to judge books by their cover.
And could win. It's certainly it's a tight race between The Queen of Basketball and Audible for me. I went with Audible again on Netflix. And is about a deaf high school football team, or by large a deaf high school, and like the kids within it and their personal struggles. They had a friend who committed suicide, and that's a sticking point, or that is a sort of point in the story for a lot of these people, and it's very emotional in how it portrays all these things. So I think it could sort of hitch a ride on the Coda train here. In telling deaf stories. I think the Academy might appreciate that quite a bit. But The Queen of Basketball is also very, very good and has big names like Steph Curry and Shaquille O'Neal as like producers, and they're talking about it and promoting it. So I'm going to go with Audible. But I think Queen of Basketball should win. I think it's just that little bit better.
Okay. And the other two of you have any thoughts on this category? No idea.
No.
Head empty. All right. Finally, the live action short. The nominees are The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My Mind, Please Hold, and A La Kachu, Take and Run. I picked The Long Goodbye randomly.
Isn't that a Batman story? No, it's Long Halloween.
Timo, good pick there once again, because that is probably the one that's going to win. It has Riz Ahmed in it. It's the shortest of the bunch, so I think that makes it stand out a little bit. All of them sort of deal with a very depressing subject matter this year.
As live action shorts kind of tend to do, they're kind of all depressing usually.
Yeah. The Long Goodbye is no exception, and I think it's just the Riz Ahmed factor that really bumps it above.
Okay.
Yeah.
But A La Kachu should win because it's the only one of the bunch that ends on like a kind of happy note, and it's also it awakened me to a issue that I didn't know existed in the world, which is like basically where does it take place? I think it's
it woke you partially to it.
I'm gonna kick my. It's one of the ones that starts with a K. That's in Asia. It's not Kazakhstan, but it's
Kashmir,
Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan, I believe.
Yes.
But basically, the fact that like thousands of women are just kidnapped and forced into marriage in these rural communities every year, and that's what the story kind of follows. It's very interesting, very heartbreaking, but does end on a sort of happy note. So that's my personal pick, but I think The Long Goodbye will win.
Okay. Now we get to go on. We get away from the shorts category, back into feature land. I want to go talk about makeup and hairstyling next. H/MU, hair makeup. Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci are the nominees. Which one do you think is going to win?
So I was told, so I was at my newspaper meeting and I handed my ballot to my friend Madison Morin in the Discord server, by the way,
What?
join our Discord server, even though she never talks in the server. Because I have down here that Dune should and will win.
Wow.
But then she told me, she said, Abram, it's gonna go to House of Gucci. And and unfortunately, I think she might be right with that whole you put an actor in horse shit prosthetics so they look like somebody else and you win the award factor. But I don't care. I am a man of principle, so I was going to say Dune is still going to win and it should win.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Abram, Dune is going to win and should win. In the anonymous voter, they said that they also thought Dune should win because of its restraint in the category, and that they're just tired of seeing the insane makeup and prosthetics on actors that then can't really like move their face underneath it. And so they think House of Gucci isn't going to win because people are burned out of that as a trend in the Oscars.
Yeah.
They could be burned out on it, but I don't believe that that's true because I think the Eyes of Tammy Faye is the clear winner here, and I guess it's my favorite. I don't really know, but Dune is not a film that I think about for its makeup and hairstyling. They got blue eyes on some people, and Oscar Isaac's beard looks damn good, but that's about it. But The Eyes of Tammy Faye is based on makeup in terms of how much makeup. I forgot what woman she's playing in that.
Tammy Faye. You nincompoop.
Wow, that was really the poorest possible thing I could have said there. But the way that they turn her into Tammy Faye, and that progresses throughout the film as she starts putting on more makeup and transforming into this caricature of a woman, is very impressive. And yeah, I think it's a clear winner here, and also my favorite.
Yeah, Tammy Faye will win. We have Jessica Chastain, the predicted favorite as Best Actress. She as I mentioned earlier, she's going to be supporting her makeup team, so that's got that narrative behind it. Sure, I'll go Isa Tammy. No, I'm gonna go Dune because I kind of agree with that anonymous voter. Is that I'm kind of tired of these like just packing a bunch of prosthetics on an actor and being like, hey, it's the best because we put the most shit on them.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. For production design, which is where I want to head to next, our nominees are Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. So who do you think is going to win in terms of production design? Set design, basically. Art direction is kind of production design, I guess. It doesn't really have an award, but kind of falls under the same belt.
It'd be interesting to see if that award would win because I would actually divide here. I think the production design, and as I think we're going to go around the horn here, Dune will be the winner here. Its production design is the most impressive from the scope and the way that the visual effects and everything works into the production design, and that combines with the costumes. Like it's a very cohesive looking film. That's one of its most impressive aspects. Though, if there was an art design category, I think Tragedy of Macbeth would take that in a fucking heartbeat because that movie looks like paintings. It looks like crazy. That movie is fucking crazy. So I'm going Dune predict to win, but I would want Tragedy of Macbeth to win, even though I hate that movie.
Tucker, I'm going to parrot you for all the reasons that you said. Dune is a massive scale production design movie, but just in terms of purely the design of what is in the film, I think that I would go The Tragedy of Macbeth, partly because Dune's going to pick up a lot of these other visual awards, and I want a little variety in there. And The Tragedy of Macbeth is a great one to add variety because it is so much different from every other movie that came out this year.
Absolutely. I just want to say this is another one of the most competitive categories of the night. I mean, there's no bad nominee here. Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story are all fantastic. They just don't have that narrative going for them. I would say maybe Nightmare Alley is like third in terms of.
It's got a Best Picture nomination, and
yeah. Well, so does Power of the Dog, and West Side Story, but
Indeedly, that is why I picked Nightmare Alley to win production design, even though I probably want Dune to win. I kind of want Nightmare Alley to win, though, because I like that movie, and I think that the production design, that carnival, come on, that thing is so...
God damn.
I think the production design is one of the elements of that film that succeed the most. And
those Art Deco buildings.
And those, yes, you are remembering why the production design in this film is really, really good. And so I think this is a toss-up. I think you can pick randomly out of 5, and I don't know who is going to win. So the prediction is going with Nightmare Alley.
Sure.
I don't want any variety, Tanner. It will be and it should be Dune.
I see. I get you.
Okay.
I just think that if Dune doesn't win production design, like what
Why
else?
even bother?
Yes, but also like that is the crux of that movie's success. I think in
Yeah.
large part. I just think that first of all, I don't think
Score,
that
terrible cinematography, terrible acting, terrible writing. I totally agree. Yes, shitting on Dune.
I think it's one of the tentpole awards that defines its success and defines its Best Picture nomination. So I think it needs to take it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a
What are you doing? You silly guy.
I've got a couple things we can move on to. Let's do a pair of them right off the bat. I think we kind of all know what this one's going to be. Let's talk about Best Sound. The nominees for Best Sound in general, not sound mixing or editing, because
we combined them.
Who the fuck knows the difference between what those are? I do, but not the voters. The nominees are Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Shall we say what it's going to be on 3?
Sure.
1, 2, 3. Dune.
West Side Story.
Oh.
No, I'm fucking with you. Of course,
it's gonna be.
Okay.
West Side Story is that close second. I think so.
This is the most sound category. That's why it's going to Dune.
Yes.
Because goddamn, the sound of that movie shook my ass when I was in that theater.
I think if I'm gonna give my professional opinion on the sound of these 5 movies, that while West Side Story has a lot of technical achievements, I don't think that necessarily translates into it being a Academy voters like understanding why it's an important film sound-wise, in it being a musical. And Dune, it just sounds so good. It just sounds so awesome. It sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Professional opinion right there.
Does anyone have one that they would prefer to win? A personal favorite?
West Side Story because it's a better movie.
Oh, sure. But is the sound better, Tucker?
We're not talking about the movie.
No,
We're talking about the
sound. It's Dune.
Yeah, it's Dune. I think it's Dune both for all of us. Yeah.
I think
Belfast did some cool things with sound.
That's true.
I would just like to shout out, I think that No Time to Die does sound quite good. Is it good enough? Like, is it remarkable enough?
Remember it?
Right, is it remarkable enough on the basis of its sound to get a nomination? I don't know.
Same with Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
I don't think
there are any... No Time to Die.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's a fun movie. Okay. In a similar auditory land, let's talk about score. Are we also maybe all in agreement for this one? The nominees for score are Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. Tucker, what do you think is going to win for this? Because if there's anyone to be an odd one out in this category, I think it's going to be you.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm voting Power of the Dog will win this one. I think that's one of the aspects of that film that people most remember. Obviously Hans Zimmer with Dune is something that also people remember. I feel like for some reason here, I'm feeling that it's going to go to Power of the Dogs. Power of the Dog is losing a lot of stuff, and obviously Dune is picking up a lot. So I think they might want to balance out here. But my personal pick is actually Don't Look Up. I think that's the best score of the year in terms of its energy and variety and stuff. But also, Parallel Mothers has a great score. What an awesome pick to be nominated here. That movie has an incredible score, very unique. I recommend you go listen to a couple of the tracks. They're on YouTube. Fantastic score.
Yeah.
Abram.
Yes, Abram Beater.
Does score encompass vocal tracks?
Yes. If it is music, if I think what you were referring to, yes, it counts as score.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
wait, are you talking about like?
So because I think on the basis of its tracks, like you can't talk about Bruno, or we don't talk about Bruno. I don't know.
That's not included.
That doesn't count.
Like musical songs, I don't think count. It has to be the underlying sort of thing. But like, I thought you were referring to like the
vocal tracks in Dune.
Yeah, the throat singing in Dune, which I do think counts.
Yes.
Well, I just is this a common enough conflation to where people might say Encanto gets it? Like, if people just think of, because Tanner, you're thinking, but people don't read adapted into screenplay. Mm-hmm. If someone hears score and thinks music, I think Encanto has a very good shot of actually winning the category.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually think that
also, frankly, it could be a part of it. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that Encanto is going to win, but I have said in the Quest video that I'm the My Star Wars Show gentleman, but Dune has my favorite film score of all time. So obviously I think that Dune should win, but I think Encanto will win.
I'm rolling with Hans. I'm rolling deep with Hans
gotta
in
roll
this
with
one.
Hans, man.
But I think Tucker has a great point in that Don't Look Up is the actual best score of the year. I think it should win. I think Don't Look Up should win. Dune will win.
I think Dune will and should win because I think it is the best score. I think it's one of Hans Zimmer's more creative and better scores in terms of just it's different. It's like I don't know. It fits the realm of Dune really well, I think. It fits the film and some of the ideas that the film is trying to put forward about sci-fi, about this alternate universe, and that it just sounds really impressive. And I like listening to it in my own time, divorced from the movie. So, yeah, Dune for both of them for me.
Are we down to our last two categories now, Timo?
Are we down to our last couple categories? No, because we've got one more to go before the last two. So we're in our last three.
Okay.
Let's talk about best editing. Is it best or is it
Oh.
missed?
Oh no.
And the nominees for this category: Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, The Power of the Dog, and Tick Tick Boom. What do you guys think?
Timo, this is a humdinger of a category.
Yes, it is.
So
and
why
is it before the ceremony? I cannot believe that.
I'd like everyone else can go before me before I go on my rambling rant about why this is a tough category.
I actually think this category is very clear cut.
Yeah,
I think that Don't Look Up is going to win Best Editing.
Okay. Yeah.
I genuinely do, because we were having this conversation in one of the fucking chats we have here, the Oscars related one, in which we were talking about, is it best editing or is it most editing? And I think that Don't Look Up is in this kind of intersection where to the undiscerning eye it's both.
Okay.
I think that there's probably going to be a sort of profound aura around its use of the stock footage and various things is going to give it the win. Because because I'm of the belief that on the whole, good editing is editing that you don't really notice, unless it's being used for a very deliberate effect. And I think, in my personal opinion, Don't Look Up is a terribly edited movie. I think it's a terribly, terribly, terribly edited movie. But I think that it's a sort of editing that looks incredibly impressive, and it is going to win. However, I think that Dune should win, because I think Dune is an example of noticeable editing that is incredibly intentional and purposeful to the actual storytelling vehicle of Dune. That is Eisensteinian montage, as Timo might want to reference. And so I think that it is a profoundly edited film, so I should win, but I think Don't Look Up will win.
I agree with it should win. Abram, Dune should win. And I also actually think it will win, although that will probably come back to bite me, because probably the Academy won't understand really what is going on with Dune's editing and what makes it so great. I really hope it does win, because I'm putting all my chips on Dune for this one, man.
Yeah.
I'm putting my will chips on King Richard, actually, for this one. I think, as we discussed, in terms of invisible editing, but also most editing in those sequences of tennis playing, which is quite a bit of especially the second half of the film. It's fantastically edited, and I think people will recognize that. But to the discerning eye, Don't Look Up is an impressively edited film and a very well edited film. So that's my should win. I think it is certainly my favorite editing of the year. I actually do think that including extraneous elements is something that films don't do enough, in terms of adding text on the screen, doing fourth wall breaks, to adding the stock footage. Even if it is a little bit corny, I think it is a fascinating way to extract emotion from a film. I like creative filmmaking, and this film is very creatively made. It's not like everything else around it, and I think that is alienating to some people, but it is interesting. It's impressive, and I think it stands out the most, for sure.
Yeah. I think Adam McKay's other films do that better, but that's besides the point, because here we go. We're going to talk about editing right now. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here he goes. Brace yourself.
Okay. So Dune is let's start with Dune here. Dune has precedent, okay, but it's a bit of an old precedent, because you look back to like your Mad Maxes, your Gravities. These are big scale films that do wide shots and things of that nature. They're longer films. But I don't know if that 100% carries over into Dune, because Dune I think is longer than both of those films and uses a bit more of a
And worse, yeah.
and is a bit more artsy with how it uses its editing. We're cutting around to Paul having visions in his mind as he's tripping his ass off of spice and stuff like that. But the Academy could still like that. They could go with that older precedent of editing in long, big scale action movies. They could go editing. I think, to get my prediction out there, I think it is going to be King Richard as well, because I think that lines up best with more recent winners like The Sound of Metal and Ford v Ferrari, our previous two winners in editing. It's not in your face. It is important to the film. It also coincides. King Richard does not have a sound one. That's another point for Dune, is that it has sound nominations, which Sound of Metal and Ford v Ferrari both had and won.
Yeah.
But to go back to King Richard, I think that it has montages, which are easy to identify for less adept editing eyes. I think that especially in those tennis sequences, the editing is used very, very well, and that could be something that sticks out, kind of like the racing sequences in Ford v Ferrari or the drumming sequences in Sound of Metal. Or even the drumming sequences in Whiplash from the 2015 Oscars. But then you have these other outliers like Tick Tick Boom is a musical. You have like The Number Therapy, which is edited very well in my opinion. But I gotta go King Richard. I am gonna go King Richard. This is a tough category. And for my favorite pick, I'm gonna go for Tick Tick Boom.
I will say that King Richard does have that match cut that makes me go yeehaw, so I wouldn't be disappointed
Exactly.
if that did win.
It has things like that are.
I believe
that
it
are
inspired
simple.
Stanley Kubrick.
It has stuff like that are simple, easily identifiable, and well executed, which
And
I
then
think
Will Smith grew up to become Stanley Kubrick.
which I think are elements that are in our previous two winners, Ford v Ferrari and Sound of Metal. So that's why I think King Richard.
Okay. Well, we are done with everything except for the last two categories. If you've been keeping track, let's do Best Director next. The best directors, according to the Academy of this year, are Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryusuke Hamaguchi in Drive My Car, PTA for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for Power of the Dog, and old Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. What do you guys have for this one?
I went last time, so I'm gonna go first this time because I don't think this one is that complicated. It's Jane Campion. She's been picking up a lot of these awards. I think she still has the narrative, despite the fact that Power of the Dog doesn't really have a narrative in a lot of these other categories. And I think that the Academy will want to, sort of applaud her very good direction in the Power of the Dog, even though they're not giving her a lot of these other awards.
Yeah. Or at least not the film. Yeah.
The film, not of other awards. But if I had to pick my personal favorite, I'd go Steven Spielberg, because as I said in the West Side Story review, if Steven Spielberg said, "Hey, this is my last movie," I'd be like, Steven Spielberg's magnum opus. But he's got some more in the can. So yeah. So prediction: Jane Campion. Personal favorite: Steven Spielberg.
Okay. I paired that exactly. For the exact reasons. So I'm not going to tirade.
Abram, do you want to go?
He's flexing his paper.
Confidently stretching that paper.
Jane Campion will win.
Yes.
I think it's a wonderfully directed film. I did a write-in for this category.
A write-in?
Oh, I see. A write-in? That's not allowed.
I think that Denis Villeneuve should win for Best Director this year. And
he could.
All I have to say on the matter is that I've only been annoyed by 3 Oscar snubs.
Mm-hmm.
Nightcrawler, because I think that's a great film, didn't get any nominations.
I thought you meant from X-Men. He should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor,
yeah. Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, that was a horse shit snub. Yeah, and now Denis Villeneuve for that's my trifecta of snubs.
Tucker, actually, Nightcrawler is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Cody Smith-McPhee portrayed Nightcrawler in the more recent X-Men films.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a peculiar connection that I didn't make accidentally. Oh, nuts.
Maybe he'll get it. Nightcrawler, baby. Here we go.
I'm coming out of left field with this one. PTA is going to win Best Director.
Oh, wow.
I think this is the award for Licorice Pizza, because I think that the direction of the film in all of its elements are it feels like a PTA film, and it feels. I read in the anonymous voter that they thought that this film, they liked PTA's directions largely because the characters, you don't like hate the characters in this film. They're not like all misanthropes and they're not all like terrible people. And so that's a large part of why PTA will pick up this award, because of the uniqueness of the film. And it really just feels like this is it's a movie that only he could make. But I want Ryusuke Hamaguchi to win because I think it is the best directed film of the year. Drive My Car, in its everything that it does, was only achieved through the direction, and I feel like any less skilled of a director just would not have been able to pull it off.
Can you imagine how much Film Bro cucks would lose their mind if we got 3 Asian-backed best directors in a row?
Wait, who? Because obviously
Bong Joon-ho, Chloe
Joon-ho.
Zhao, and
Oh, right. Of course, I was actually
Boy.
paying attention to that one.
Good Lord. No, but you're totally right. I actually think that just to sort of wrap up this conversation, this isn't the most competitive category because there has been a narrative so strongly around Jane Campion since that movie started screening. But this is one of the more competitive categories, technically wise. Like, all of these directors do have some sort of narrative going about them. But it's just about the strength of that narrative. But like Steven Spielberg really returning to form with one of his highest critically acclaimed films. Jane Campion being the only female director here, but also a fantastically directed film. Ryusuke Hamaguchi being the only foreign nominated director here, but also that being a phenomenally directed movie. And then Belfast with Branagh like making this as a passion project, and same with PTA. I mean, the two of them have that sort of same thing going. There's no bad winner here.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a toss-up, and someone will be happy no matter what happens, I guess.
It's true. It's just
a great point.
Okay, that was our penultimate category. Now we get to do the best picture, the whole name of the game. Do you know what the nominees are? Do you need me to read all 10 of them out?
Rattle them off, just for old time's sake.
All right. It's Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. If you need to hear our thoughts about these, go watch it in each film's individual episodes. We talk about all of them for like an hour each. But what do you guys think is going to win? That's the main name of the game here. Who's taking home the biggest award in cinema on Sunday?
The name of this game has become significantly more complex over the last few days.
This is very, very true.
And it's very exciting for that to be introduced to the case because, let's be real, I mean, the last few months, watching all these movies, listening to some Oscars hubbub all around it, Power of the Dog was the clear front runner since the beginning. I mean, each other one sort of has something weird about it, I guess. But now, guess what? Coda has been introduced into that oeuvre. Winning most of the big awards of the last few days. Yes, Abram Buhner.
Can we take a moment for the Abram Buhners in the room and explain the sort of upset that's brewing here with Coda?
The upset started, I believe, really started with I think it was the BAFTAs. It won best at the BAFTAs. It won best ensemble at the Screen Actors Guild. That's what really kicked it off.
And then it was both best original or adapted screenplay at Writers Guild and something at the Directors Guild as well, or Producers Guild.
Yeah. So it's been picking up a lot of these really big awards, and it's picking up the ones that alongside The Power of the Dog initially, but then surpassing it. And what I heard today was really interesting. I was doing some research beforehand, and so The Power of the Dog premiered on Netflix in September, October, November, somewhere in there. And it was the front runner for a long time, as Tucker said. Coda premiered on Apple Plus TV back in August. So this is the much older film. And for a long time, everyone was
oldest,
like...
I believe, right?
Yeah, I think
all these.
For a long time, people were like, it's going to be Power of the Dog, yada, yada, yada. But then, Coda picked up, like, Best Ensemble. And it was like, oh, hey, I should watch Coda. It's nominated for Best Picture and yada, yada, yada. And so it's really got this, like, really interesting late in the game increase in popularity. And I think what has happened is it's sort of a feedback loop in which Academy voters have watched it. It's a lot more heartwarming than The Power of the Dog. It's a lot more crowd-pleasing than The Power of the Dog. And they're like, this is this is a great this is a great film. I'm going to continue to vote for this. And I think it's also an element of people like that there's an upset now. People like that the front runner is Academy voters included. They like that that there's this late in the game sort of addition to the race, that there's this competitor, and it peaked a lot later than Power of the Dog did. So I think it's going to come away with the Best Picture award.
And there's another element in that Netflix has been pushing super hard for the Power of the Dog to win, especially in LA, where all of the Oscar voters live. And the anonymous voter complained. They're like, I'm tired of seeing all these ads that say that vote.
It
is a length of the campaign issue.
It's like it's an oversaturation of like promotional material about this film being the best film of the year, like for your consideration for Best Picture. People are kind of tired of it a little bit.
And Coda's like, please consider female Best Picture, please.
Well, here's what I don't understand though. Like, is historically speaking, are there a lot of people that hold off voting until the end? Like,
Absolutely.
Have enough people not voted to where these recent wins might be a factor?
I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure when voting opened. I think it was a week or two ago, and that was already when Coda was really on the uptick.
I do think that people backload. I mean, everyone does it. Everyone procrastinates. Everyone tries to get them watching them in under the wire.
Yeah, true.
So
it's very true.
I would actually not be surprised if it's more backloaded on voting than you would expect it to.
Yeah.
Because they have to get the screeners, and then they have to actually watch the screeners, and they probably don't start watching the screeners until voting opens, frankly, because then they're like, oh, I really have to think about it. It's feedback loop, like Karen was saying.
Yeah. And for all of the reasons we've talked about, I think Coda is going to win. I think that's the scheming prediction of what's gonna win. But what, Abram, do you know who? I guess we can do our predictions and then we can do our wants. What's your prediction for the win?
Well, okay. So I actually was gonna give 3. I want to give a who will win, who I want to win, and who should win. And there's a differentiation there.
Yeah.
Sure. Because obviously, if you watch these videos, you know that Dune is my favorite. I think Dune is a fantastic film, but I don't actually think Dune is the one that will win, or even the one that I think should win. So I want to make that distinction when we get to the should win. Will win, I think it's still Power of the Dog. I really think Power of the Dog is incredibly, incredibly impressive. And I think that, Coda is fun, but I still think Coda is a little bit toothless, frankly. And I think that Power of the Dog is anything but. And because of that, you pop that hot rod in on Netflix, and it's going to leave an impact. I still think about Power of the Dog often. I don't think about Coda very much, and I certainly don't think about a lot of these other films. And I think that's why that even though there's 10 nominated, we're talking about 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
But I really do think that this sort of comeback story for Jane Campion is important. And I think that Netflix is going to get there. They are not going to get what's the one that you wanted to win, the black and white one that was snubbed?
Roma.
They're not going to get Roma this year.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh well, that's another great comparison. The Green Book versus Roma. Roma being a much more serious one from Netflix, and being upset by the much more crowd pleasing Green Book.
Yeah.
I think Power of the Dog is going to win.
Okay. All right. Well, I think should win is Drive My Car. I think Drive My Car is the best film of the year. It is the best picture. But I am holding out hope. I don't think it's gonna. It's sad.
Yeah.
My want, as I showed, is West Side Story. I don't. Wait, what?
I thought we were giving our predictions.
Yeah, we all just did.
We did already.
The 3 of us think Coda is going to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we finished that, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah.
But my one is West Side Story. I do think that it is my favorite movie of last year, Spider-Man notwithstanding, and that's for entirely different reasons. I do think that it is the best and most impressive movie of last year, and honestly, I think just in my own mind's eye, just wiping clean the slate of an old West Side Story win, just pretending like that never happened. Like, we've got a new West Side Story that has won, the better one that has won, the more modern one, the one that better reflects the story and the characters and cinematography and all that. It's the best movie of the bunch, and it definitely should win. But it fucking won't, because nobody saw it and it made like $70. So
Something like that.
70. It made 70 million, which is
Yeah.
incredibly ridiculously low for that
I
film.
think on a budget of like 200 million or something like that.
Holy
Good God. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Coda is probably my favorite movie out of the bunch this year, but I think I'm in agreement with Timo. I think Drive My Car is such a titan of filmmaking and film writing and film direction and performance and everything that I think I would be elated if Drive My Car won the Best Picture Oscar this year.
Yeah, I agree. That was my should win. That's why I had to make the differentiation between Dune and Drive My Car. Because I think Drive My Car, in a world where the Oscars were predicated solely on quality, Drive My Car should win.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's our entire Oscar predictions, our wants and our shoulds, or our wants and our wills, I guess.
Yeah.
One final thing before we wrap this. What do you guys think of the state of the Oscars right now? We can talk about that and wrap it out. What do you all the meta narratives, all the everything that isn't the actual movies that are being talked about here at the Academy
Talk
Awards.
about this first.
Can I ask that we make one more prediction on this episode?
Sure.
Go for it.
Can you predict the number of people who will tune into Oscars this year?
Oh,
no, because I don't know what they have been in previous years. So.
I'm gonna look it up.
I believe it was 1 million last year.
Just go like more than last year, less than last year, the same. How about?
Well, that one's boring because obviously it's gonna be less. Because I was just reading an article about actually for our paper, we just published an article about this. I believe that 2020 was 23 million. 2021 was about 10 million, and people blamed it on COVID.
Yeah.
But I really think that this is going to come. My prediction is it is going to hang at like 9 million. I think it's going to be slightly lower, but about 10.
It will be the lowest viewed Oscars ever, and I think it's actually going to be because they cut those awards. I think people are upset about that.
I think it deserves to be the lowest viewed Oscars because stop trying to fuck with it, the Academy. Listen to me. Stop trying to fuck with it, okay? If you want film fans to watch it, yes, I'm giving you time to respond. You want film fans to watch it. Okay. So, what do you think you should do to get film fans to watch it? Is it A, get rid of awards and not show them? Or is it B, show the awards and maybe add more? What do you think film fans would enjoy more? I understand that you want to get the normie audience in on this. They're not going to be in on this, okay? They're going to look it up on TikTok. They're going to look it up on fucking Facebook and Twitter and whatever's, okay? That's what they're going to do already. You should understand who your market is, okay? If you want to throw in get like Billie Eilish and Beyonce to perform at the Oscars if you want your average people to join in. Don't do whatever it is you're doing now, which is gutting the program that is meant to celebrate film annually, okay? It is the stupidest fucking decision I've ever heard.
We're kind of doing our state of the Oscars discussion with this, so I think this counts as it. Abram, what were you thinking?
I want to draw the analog to games, because games obviously a much younger medium, but in a situation that I think that even film hasn't gotten to, wherein there are two award shows of consequence in the industry. There is Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, and there are the DICE Awards. The DICE Awards are incredibly serious. They are respected. There are no announcements. You are there to celebrate achievements in video game creation. Then you have the Game Awards. And Jeff Keighley is out there swinging for the fucking fences. You got the orchestra, you got Imagine Dragons, you got big game reveals, you're cutting shit for the ad breaks. It is a commercialized product. I think that the Oscars is in a weird position where I don't really think it's either. Yeah. Now, I want to bring in a voice that you didn't expect me to talk about in this episode. I want to talk about Ben Shapiro for a second. I don't remember exactly.
Surprise guest.
I might have seen this clipped out on Twitter or something, but there was some clip he was talking somewhere about the Oscars stopped nominating movies that people like crowd-pleasing movies. As though the Oscars really ever did that, with rare exception in the past anyway. So Ben's stupid as usual. However, I think that the function of the 10 Best Picture nominees was on paper, while I was shitting on it, to get Spider-Man No Way Home a nomination so the average viewer wants to tune in. There was the opportunity to put No Time to Die and Spider-Man in instead of I don't know, Nightmare Alley and Licorice Pizza or something. And then there's the appeal. Then Tanner, you're right, you get the musical guests in there, and then it becomes the show for the masses. But right now, it's not the show for the masses because no one knows what these movies are, and they don't give a shit about these awards. It's not the show for people like you guys because they cut the stuff you care about. And they're slicing down the middle, and I think it's really going to bite them in the ass this year.
Yeah, I hope that they've received a lot of backlash for this, and I honestly do think that presenters and people accepting awards are gonna make little jabs and jokes about it in their speeches.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I hope that the people at ABC or whoever the fuck is in charge of these decisions takes that to heart, okay, and restore restore the Oscars verse.
Here's the thing about all of this. I agree, but I also disagree. I think that one of the interesting things about comparing this year to last year and how drastically it went down from 2020 to 2021 is that people just did not care as much about movies in 2020 in general. People were not seeing as many movies. They were rewatching old movies. They were catching up on TV. They were doing these things that this year didn't have that problem. Movies were back. Whether or not they should have been, we can talk about that, but people talk about a lot more movies this year, and people are also more adapted to watching streaming service movies more this year now than ever. And also streaming services are pushing these movies as Oscar winning, nominated films better than they ever have before. They're dominating the conversation. Apple TV, Disney Plus, HBO Max. More people have had access to watch these movies than they ever have before. I do think that it won't reach the heights of past years, but I don't think that it'll drop below, because I also think that the majority of the audience, because it is film fans, but it's still, if we want these to succeed, we need to capture those big, the normies. They don't care about the controversy. The controversy isn't going to drive away as many viewers as I think we might want it to, in order to hurt the Oscars and make them, kick back into gear. But I think we will have more viewers this year than last year. Won't reach those heights, as I was saying. But I also just want to say, transitioning a little bit into my thoughts on the state of the Oscars, is that I don't give a fuck. Like, all this stuff, like the controversy, them cutting things, what hurts me right in the heart is that Rachel Zegler was not invited to the Oscars for whatever the fuck reason. Like, that's the only thing I really care about. I, as an Oscars history fan, love when they do stupid shit. It's when they try something that doesn't work. It's when someone falls on stage. It's when a category fucks up. Those are the memorable moments. That's what makes it interesting to learn about and study. And if it was just awards and the best movies got the awards, it wouldn't be interesting to talk about. I don't think they should have done this. It is all bad, but I like that it's bad because it's funny and it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah. All things considered, it is fun to yell at the Oscars, but I do think there is a more serious thing of, like, they've already combined the sound awards, and if viewership does uptick, and they might cut more awards from the ceremony. They might cut awards altogether and not hand out certain awards. Like, they might cut. Hopefully, they cut song. Actually, I think that's not a movie award, but like, they might stop presenting to like short films and stuff like that, because those are easily the least popular awards. But I think they're still super important to recognizing film as a whole every year. So I agree that that it is fun to yell at the Oscars. But my main point is that, like, you're never gonna get like a Grammys level of Oscar, or people don't watch award shows in general anymore. Okay, like I said, the people who care are the ones who are going to watch it. The people who don't care, the passive ones, are just going to look up the winners on Twitter or whatever, and that's the way it is. So you shouldn't be pandering to people that you're never going to get on board. Okay, just pander to the people who care and make it as big and theatrical as you want. Okay.
And cultivate your audience that really cares, and then you can go forward and grow it from there. Yeah, I'm in pretty much agreement with all you guys, and I think in order to keep our discussion about the Oscars shorter than the ceremony itself, we ought to wrap it up. It's been a great discussion. Let us know your thoughts on who's going to win. Let us know how wrong or correct we are down in the comments. I'd love to read them. I know you guys want to comment about this kind of stuff. So until then, until the ceremony, stay safe, and let's hope that every film that we want to win won. I guess that's what what more could you want? All right, we will catch you post ceremony for whoever wins, and we're gonna place it in our big giant list. We get to go back onto the main quest and talk about one of these films once more. One of the best pictures gets another episode, and
make sure to vote. Make sure to vote for the West Side Story versus Power of the Dog.
West Side Story versus Power of the Dog. Let us know which one you think is the better film or the better best picture. Better best picture.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the best films because oftentimes they don't win. All right. We will catch you then. Until next time, stay safe. I don't know. Have a good weekend. Oscars are on Sunday. Peace.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Backlog Banter. Today we're talking about Oscars.
Okay, you ready? Hey,
There we go.
everybody. Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
Hey, everyone. Third time's a charm, baby. I'm going for it, okay? Nobody speak until we're done with the intro. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Quest for the Bestest and Backlog. Fuck. Trying again.
Oh.
No, I like that though.
Hey, everybody. What the hell is going on here? This is the worst start. I cannot start this episode. Okay.